Hi, this is my Meridian simulator that I put together when I had a 2006 Piper Meridian, the one I unfortunately lost in the accident. And I'm going to fly the GPS approach to Steamboat Springs, like the one that caused the accident with the Epic 1000 recently. A pretty unique feature for a home-built simulator is the use of electrically loaded controls. They don't produce as much force as the big-time simulator hydraulic controls, but it makes it extremely realistic to fly by hand. When you're seated at the pilot's seat, the displays are adjusted in such a way that it seems like a seamless 190-degree view. Of course, if you get up from the seat and go farther out, for instance, from the tripod that I'm taking this video from, of course, then you can see the parallax in the breaks between the various monitors. But when you're sitting as a pilot, you don't see any discontinuity. I also have a touch-sensitive panel. Here I have used a combination of commercially available products and about 3,000 lines of computer code that I did myself, including switches that look and sound very much like PA46 switches. I also hand-coded the annunciator panel and the autopilot and the magic instruments for the engine that the old Meridians had. I have a commercial Garmin 750 and a commercial Garmin 500. I hand-coded the standby mid-continent instruments, the pressurization system. I mimic the fuel cooling, and that's about it. Of course, the switches are all touch sensitive, but in case where I have to turn a knob, what I have to do is select the knob, and then I go to this little device called a knobster, and with it I can rotate the inner knob, the outer knob, and push. So for instance, since I just push the heading has just synchronized. So let me turn it and then push it, and it's synchronized. And I can do that for almost any knob in the panel. I can also control the simulator. I actually use the same kind of switches that the PA46 has, and I can also control the environment. In this case, I have a very nice VFR day. I'm not going to try and recreate exactly the path that the accident aircraft had, so I'm going to prepare a flight plan that starts at the airport itself, goes to the Tilly waypoint, and then goes back to SBS. And at SBS, I'm going to load the approach procedure, which is the RNAV Zulu LNAV plus V runway 32, and I'm going to transition at the Tilly itself, and I'm going to load and activate the approach. Here we are at the departure end of runway 32 at Steamboat Springs. We're on the kind of the displaced threshold, before the displaced threshold. And I've loaded a flight plan that goes from the airport to the Tilly, which is, according to the flight chart that I have here, the initial approach fix for the approach. And we're going to go to 12,000, let me set 12,400 feet on the pre-selector on the autopilot. And let me push the toga button on the throttle, and it goes to an 8-degree wings level command altitude. Neutral pitch trim, 0 flaps for the Meridian, and let me give it 2 degrees of right rudder trim. And I'm going to depart. I'm going to turn left because that's the area of lowest terrain, and I'm going to turn around and go to Tilly. I'm not going to try and recreate the strange approach that the accident aircraft did, but I will fly the approach using the LNAV plus V on the 750 coupled to the autopilot. Let's go. Okay, torque is coming up, ITT coming down because the bleed valves have opened. I press on the rudder pedals to disengage the parking brake. Okay, takeoff thrust is set. Airspeed's alive, 50 knots. 75. 85, rotate all the way to 8 degrees. No more runway left. Gear is coming up. Hydraulic pump should be coming off. There we go, and the gear is up. Let me trim, because I'm pulling a lot of force on these on the stick. The ForeFlight is warning me of high terrain. I'm going to dismiss it, and I'm going to turn to the left, and I'm going to continue my climb to 12,400. So here we are at 12,400 feet and 163 indicated airspeed, and we're heading towards Tilly. I'm going to let the autopilot and the 750 navigator perform the procedure turn, even though the accident aircraft did not do that. It is interesting to note that even though the notes on the approach play indicate that the runway 32 straight-in minimum not authorized at night, it seems to imply that there is a higher circle-to-land minima that can be used for a night approach. But if I go down to the minima block, I can see that the straight-in and the circle-to-land are exactly the same MDA and the same visibility requirements. So I'm not sure exactly what the meaning of that note is. But we're approaching Tilly, and the navigator will start automatically the procedure turn. The ball is indicating that I have too much right rudder, so I'm going to trim until the bubble centers, or in this case, the little knob centers. And here we have initiating the procedure turn. Now I have to keep 12,400 all inbound all the way to Tilly. When I get to Tilly, we can descend to 10,800. So I'm going to pre-select 10,800 on the autopilot altitude, the pre-selector. Here I am at Tilly, actually a minute and 50 seconds from Tilly. So I'm going to enable the approach mode, or arm the approach mode on the autopilot. It has immediately captured the lateral mode because we are aligned and we're on GPS, and we're in altitude hold, and it's waiting for a quote-unquote glide slope. 40 minutes from Tilly. The 3100 autopilot that Marian had did not have a VNAV mode, so I can either let it capture the glide slope when the diamond comes into view, or I'm going, actually what I will do is I'm going to use VS to go down to 10,800, and then I will let it capture the glide slope. And here we are, we're going to map key, so I'm going to go VS, and I'm going to go down at, say, 900 feet per minute. I'm going to reduce my speed a little bit because I'm going really, really fast. Gear speed on the Meridian is 168 knots. I'm doing 168 right now. And the map key, which is the waypoint we're going to, is the final approach fix. So I should be configured by the final approach speed, which in the Meridian for a non-precision approach is gear down and flaps 10. And we're not at 10,100 yet, but I can see that we've captured the glide slope. So we're going to go gear down. GPSV on this autopilot means it has captured the glide slope. And here's the little turn at map key that we've seen on the ADSB of the accident aircraft. So it was following it. And now, since I'm way past the 10,800 segment, I'm going to put in my MDA here, which is 9,100. Now, you would think then that having set that pre-select altitude, the autopilot would do something in response to being there, but it is not. And as you can see, we are approaching the ridge where the accident aircraft impacted the terrain, but the autopilot is very happy. It is right on the glide slope, or the indicator glide slope. It is right on the localizer. So if I don't do anything when we reach 9,100, guess what's going to happen? It is going to continue. So what I'm going to do is, when I hit 9,100, I'm going to hit the Alt hold on the autopilot and therefore not impact the terrain. (9,300), 200 to go. And airspeed 137. I should probably put in 1 notch of flaps here. Slow down a little bit, maybe increase my thrust a little bit too. Okay, 1,900, alt. Altitude hold at 9,100. Now, notice something interesting. As my nose has come up, I no longer have visibility over the ridge. So I guess even if we were on daylight conditions, I don't have a lot of visibility over that obstacle. So CFIT is understandable. Now, meanwhile, I'm looking at the ForeFlight, and you can see the aircraft symbol is approaching the set of towers, which I'm not sure if the simulator has the towers in. But in any case, I cannot see the runway. I cannot see the airport because of the attitude of the aircraft. I guess I could, look around a little bit or disengage the autopilot, but definitely the glide slope indicator is all the way down. So I'm going to disengage the autopilot.
Autopilot disconnect.
And I'm going to nose down. Hopefully I will not hit the terrain. And I'm not sure I see the airfield. Oh, there's the terrain. I don't want to hit that. Where am I? Oh, there it is. I can see the runway there. Ooh, man, what an approach. So tell you what, I'm going to put in another notch of flaps to try and go down. And now I'm going to turn a little bit to the right. 108 knots, a little bit power. And I think I'm kind of all set for an approach. So let me do this. Let me go in replay. Okay, here in replay, I've decided to disengage the autopilot. Here's the ridge, but we are comfortably above the ridge, although not by much. Yeah, I know that Meridian has a German registration. It's an artifact of the commercial Meridian that I'm using here, commercial Meridian aircraft model. Okay, so we've cleared the ridge, although not by much, I'd say. So let me get out of replay and resume flying the airplane. Better.
Autopilot disconnect.
Yeah, better go forward view here. And of course, these are loaded controls, so I'm actually keeping a substantial push on the yoke, which will disappear as I slow down and trim for touchdown. Okay, 3 greens, no red, and fuel pumps and ignition manual. ForeFlight has told me I'm on short final runway 32 at Steamboat Springs. And now the trim is perfect. See, I didn't want to touch it before. And here I am, and touchdown. Okay, nose wheels on the ground, so I can go beta and I can go reverse. And we survive another landing.